Are you City Island Co-op City?
Co-op City, City Island.
Are you Co-op City?
Yeah, that's where I live.
What is that?
It's up
It's
by
next to City Island.
You know when you're on 95 and you see like last part of the Bronx, where I said I got kind of almost robbed. Across from there is across from there there's like a Uniqlo.
Yeah.
Right behind that is a big housing development. I think that's right.
It's a co-op, yo. Chill out, bro.
I'm sorry.
It's the difference, man.
I live in a housing development.
Nah, your shit is a
condos.
It's condominiums.
Yeah.
It's like once you have a lottery. I mean, I guess housing shit has lotteries too. But.
Yeah, co-ops like there's some co-ops in the city where you pay $15,000 once to get into the spot, like in Manhattan. And then it's yours for life. You just have to pay the monthly maintenance fee, but you don't own it.
Yeah. That's like where my mom lives.
Yeah, it's the dream. There's one across from.
Is that a dream? That doesn't sound.
It's not a dream.
I mean, the fact that you don't get to sell it doesn't sound cool.
It's a dream because.
But it's a dream if you like within our current economy to be able to pay like $400 a month to live in New York for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
that's kind of a dream.
Even a G a month at like.
To live on like 26th and 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the dude, I forget the name of it. I think it's like Mitchell Lama or Mitchell and Mitchell Lama.
Okay.
It's like a company that has the, they do the, like that. They have a bunch of different properties around the city.
Okay.
Where they have the lottery stuff.
Anyways, it's good that we just started immediately with the Bronx because this is the most Bronx dude that I know.
Do you know other Bronx dudes?
A few, yeah.
Wait,
I mean,
okay. Yeah. Is Jaddy from the Bronx?
Yeah, Jaddy's from the Bronx.
BX.
And then a lot of the guys from the company, J.O.'s from the Bronx.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Bronx dudes that work in the moving company.
I actually had a buddy in the Bronx, from the Bronx, who told me all about, he had just got out the joint and taught me kind of what it was like to sell crack in the Bronx. Told me the whole story and the whole get down of like how it works with like, you know, like where you're allowed to do it, how your clientele works, you know, just like the politics of it. But this is one thing I'd like to say that I feel like people only know the South Bronx. They put that as the whole Bronx. And the Bronx is like, the northern part of the Bronx is all suburban.
Yeah.
It's like.
It's not all suburban.
Close to.
I'd say the west side.
Like Riverdale adjacent? Yeah.
Because even like, I guess where I'm from, it wasn't, there were like a bunch of 3-family houses.
Yeah.
They weren't like housing. It wasn't like buildings or projects.
Yeah.
But it was still like, it wasn't the suburbs.
Yeah.
I feel like once the train stops.
The subway?
Yeah,
not the Metro North.
Nah, Metro North goes to the suburbs.
Yeah.
Or at least, you know what I mean? North of the city. But anyway.
I mean, Metro North goes to.
No, I feel like the west side north is like suburbs. You know what I mean? It's
Fordham
like,
adjacent.
It's not even the Bronx anymore.
Yeah.
But like on the north side, I feel like on the east side, it's crazy all the way in the north. Like, yeah. Or I don't want to say it's crazy because it's not crazy anymore. It's nice now.
Yeah, because
pretty chill.
I was saying that I got robbed-ish at this gas station.
How you get robbed-ish?
This whole gas station is in this wild little, you know where that BP is? Like,
yeah,
right?
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
There's just a lot of action happening right there. And it was on me. I was refilling a truck's gas tank and I left my door open. I had a whole bunch of money on me. I had like $1,600 cash. And this dude just was, I like left my door open while I took all the trash from the truck and put it in a garbage can. And when I came back, dude was just in the cab of the truck. And I was like, hey, what's up, man? And he was like, oh, hey, what's up? And like all of a sudden was like on me, like not touching me, but just like physically kind of like
it's good
cornering me in kind of thing. And I was like, nothing, man. I'm just trying to get out of here. Just filled up I got to go pay. And he was like, can you help me out? In that way that's like, I could rob you or you could help me out kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, man, I got you.
I'd be like, get the fuck out of my what the fuck is wrong with you? I would have just went crazy. Probably.
No, I did not. I was like,
yeah, but when you have faces like me and Andy,
Yeah.
It's okay. Let me find
Not
$7
the
Nah,
for it.
because there's people with your faces that live in New York that be like, get the fuck out of here. You fucking.
Is that dude
'Cause
gonna
that's-
fight me then?
You gotta see, but a lot of times probably not.
See, that's the whole thing.
But
I
a
don't
lot
want
of
to
times
see.
I
Yeah.
feel like people. It's like that's like the oldest bluff, bro. Like I don't know, because then there's like that part where people pray. So the person that's fucking with you is a sucker most
Yeah,
of the time.
yeah.
Like they're trying to prey on. They're trying to look at somebody.
P-R-E-Y, not P-R-A-Y.
Nah, they P-R-E-Y. They trying to.
I thought you were like, that guy's a sucker for believing in Christ.
Yeah.
Nah.
That dude
He's trying
loves
to
the
pre.
This
Lord.
guy's fucking gay for.
He's trying to pre.
Uh-huh.
I wish
Yeah.
they fucking made the English language better.
That's
man.
like
They
gray.
fucked shit up.
Which one's correct, E or A?
I have no idea.
I always see put the A.
I've been throwing the E in lately.
But Greyhound.
Mm-hmm. That's E.
Yeah.
That's an animal when it's gray. You feel me? And when it's the sky, it's an A. You heard?
All right. Okay.
So where the money was in the cab?
No, it was in my pocket.
It was in your
but
pocket.
it was like enough money where it was uncomfortably like
had
I
the
could
bulge,
feel.
you
Yeah,
really?
I could
My man
feel the
seen
money,
you?
and I was like,
He
I
seen you.
don't want this.
I have
crap.
cash on me right now in my apartment, and every time I'm so afraid to go to the bank with it
Yeah.
because it's so much money.
So
Yeah.
take it in increments, man. Put it in the briefcase. You feel me? Go to the back, son. Deposit
Whenever
it.
I-
You don't go to the teller. What kind of fucking?
I
bank
open
you
a
got?
big briefcase and it's only $400.
Go to the teller. All singles.
Whenever I have cash, though, I always wish that you could just take a picture of the cash and deposit it that way.
Yo, I don't even like, bro. You know, so I catch the bus on 23rd. Like if I'm going home late night.
Yeah, right by our spot.
Yeah, 23rd. And there's like a TD bank on the corner. So if I, do shows, get some cash, deposit the money and shit. And yo, there'd be like, sometimes I don't know if if something's wrong with me, bro. Like there's almost always a homeless dude, like, or I don't say homeless, but somebody just like
Homeless.
at
least in the costume.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
a homeless getup.
Presented.
Cosplaying homeless. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, yo, they imagine depositing, like, dude is just sleeping on the floor, laying there, and you just step over him and make your cash deposit.
No, I have to do that.
Yeah.
That's I have a joke about that, about how I'm glad it's warming up because that means I don't have to go into the vestibule with that
Nah,
dude.
they still gonna be there because it got
You know
the
what?
little AC.
It does have the AC.
I've
It's
always, every time I go to an ATM, even just to pull out money or to deposit, I always have, the episode of Fresh Prince where Will gets shot?
yeah.
I have that in my head all the time. It's like I.
You think you're gonna get shot?
I mean, it makes so much sense for me to get robbed right here, or someone to put a gun at me and be like, pull out
That's crazy.
all the money that you can,
Yeah.
which is only $200. But but that does like a little bit of anxiety goes through me every time.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, man. I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
I've never been robbed like that. Knock on wood. But it's always, if I've been robbed, I got jumped a couple times in high
Serious.
school.
And he's like, yo, if I got robbed, it's serious.
It's fucking on.
Yeah.
You guys, this is the Known Zone. I'm Andy Haynes. I'm joined by my consummate co-host, Wilfred Padua.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a very special guest today. Whenever I start something, project, show, anything, I'm thinking of this guy.
I've been saying we got to get Petey on for weeks just because we're like, we need when we started the podcast, the idea was like we need to get guests that are going to create a good vibe for us and make us comfortable as we're like figuring out what the chemistry is. And I was just like, Petey's one of those guys.
Yeah, I think Petey's like the most consistently good vibes, fun comic in the city. One of the funniest dudes I know. Can just put him up there. I've seen this guy just get on a mic for hours.
Yeah, you do.
Like
you
all
do
this-
run the light
do
a
you
lot.
Are you not liking all this
No,
love?
did
You're
you
making it
tell those
uncomfortable.
signs that someone's got problems going on under the surface?
No.
Like, yo, this guy, everybody loves him. Lights up the
Yeah.
galaxy.
No.
Nah,
You're
nah.
not
He's
like
got
an
a lot
Artie
to hide.
Lang. You're
Nah.
not like out here like Petey's the best. He does have a crack cocaine problem.
Yeah.
But we love him. No, you're
And he's
the
like, yo, all
funniest
right,
dude.
Petey was the guy at the BP station.
Yeah, it was Petey. That's how
But
I
then
met
he
him.
goes- Then he took the mask
No, yeah,
off.
you're not like PR nice. Like you're
Puerto Rican nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're not Puerto Rican.
yeah, because they aren't. No, but like you're not like it's not fake at all. There's no like PR press release type of energy to who you are.
Thank you for the compliments, guys. I really appreciate it. And I needed that today.
Oh, good.
You having a tough day?
On the way here just now on the elevator, this woman was on the phone, and I was like, I fucking hate her voice. And because she was like, hey, you're gonna be over there. So like in my mind, I'm just like, yo, oh my God. And then I started thinking about other people's voices that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And then she got off before me, and as the shit opened, she was like, have a good day. And I was like, you too. And I just felt like shit after that. I was like, damn, yo.
Yeah. I have
I was like, damn, and I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
Because by the tone of her voice, I felt like she was just into like her voice and the Gucci shoes. I was like,
she's a bitch.
Yeah.
And then she turned out to be nice.
She was like, have a good, I don't know. She might not be nice, but she knows how to fucking share space, common space.
It's funny because if even bad vibes coming from me, even if I don't verbalize them, but especially if I have some kind of like confrontation, I'm in this group therapy. And I kind of got into it with my therapist where I was like, yo, I've been doing this a long time and I don't feel great. You know, kind of gave her some shit. I was having a hard week. I was getting off this medicine, so I was like adjusting to that.
You brought it up in group therapy?
Yeah, and then I brought it up again in group therapy about how I thought it was not really working and kind of poisoned the vibe in the group therapy. Like
well, we didn't.
Right, guys?
That happened like yesterday, right?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
It's like, yo, this shit ain't working, right, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, but everybody's so kind and they're all like really nice and stuff. And my therapist is so nice, but I felt awful about it. You know, like I'm just one of those people. I can't like, I almost never can have like a confrontation with person and feel fine about it. Yeah. Even if I'm in the right, I still don't want to be cruel. I still don't want to tell somebody to go fuck themselves.
Yo, I'm learning how to not hold it in any much because I feel like it's also like I don't do what you did, but I'm trying to put my ego to the side to do that because that's kind of like an ego. That's like my ego. I'll feel it on the low, like fuck this shit. But it's like I fucking curb it to I won't say anything. And
see, I have the inverse of that, which is that I always my whole life have been like, this is fucked up, and then everybody's like, you're acting like a psycho, and I'm like, you're right. And I feel awful about it. I'm going to think about this for the rest of my life.
But that's what's difficult. We had a long drive from New Hampshire the other day, and it was a good, like, sincere conversation. And
all Andy got is sincere convos.
We were talking about buttholes for like 3 days, and then and
he'll make you think about it real deep.
Make you think about a butthole, what its function.
What is it? Yeah, what is God doing in there?
Yeah, exactly.
But the tough part about like confrontation is to remove yourself from the situation. Because like I am taking it so personally. I'm like, oh, they did this to me, and then I'm getting very emotional. But if I'm just like if we're having a conversation and you say something that's just wrong, I'm not afraid of correcting you. But so I'm like trying to get to the point where I can confront people and be like, hey, that was wrong, but not be emotional the whole time, you know?
I think this is like a very cultural thing too, because I feel like white people can't have fights and not get like very butthurt about it, and like it's like a lasting thing that needs to be resolved. And then I'll go and I'll hang out with my black friends, and some of them might get into like a big argument and be giving each other shit, and it even can get like a little hot and tense. But then later that day, it's fine because everybody's saying what they're feeling. You know what I mean? I don't know if this is a generalization.
That is pretty much a generalization.
Okay.
I'm like, damn, I know bad like people that take shit bad personal, bottle shit up, don't.
But don't you feel like
explode and then it's
white
like,
people are more passive aggressive to some extent, or is that just another generalization?
I think I'm pretty sure you can find some things, but I feel like it's a personality trait more than anything. Because even like what I'm saying with you is like more of like I don't think this is working. As opposed to like man, I don't know if this shit is It's working. But like the conversation to yourself, I don't think.
I think that's a male thing too.
Just, like,
sure.
fucking, like there's a shit like even recently, like somebody owes me, or like all right, suppose we have a conversation and I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna give you 50. I know you say I'm gonna give you 50, but I'm gonna give you more because you deserve more. And then you send me the 50.
Oh man!
And then I would be like, "What about the more? What about the more?
That happened to me.
What about the more?
That actually happened to me recently. It fucked me
What
up.
about because like that's the part too where it's like my ego is like, but the reality is like, yo, I just hang on to shit so hard. Like,
yeah.
If we had like, I just hang on to people's words. Like, yo, I think that's my fault in life because I like.
Yeah,
it's like that letdown part. Not even it's the part where you're like, yo, you start creating these conversations like, all right, well, if you valued me, maybe that has nothing to do with it. Maybe that has nothing to do with it if I don't mention it.
Yeah.
Like, so now there's just like this conversation in my head.
So what brought you in today with like a grayer mood?
Life, yo. It's too much to mention, but like that's part of it. My mom is going through it. With her health and shit, like dementia, and just like some business shit that kind of I haven't figured out yet, but it happened like literally, maybe like an hour ago or two ago.
Jesus Christ! Well, thank you for still coming in.
Please come on, man. I was already on my way here. Like on the walk in, I'm like saying like because we've all been through shit and had to perform like or had to do something. So it's like we do that.
You don't have to do that here. But we'd like it.
No, but even that, it's like, I'll think about like, yo, who like telling someone, yo, I don't, like my new shit that I'm getting better at is like, I don't feel like talking right now. I don't feel like talking today. I don't feel like talking about this. Like as far as like,
That's something I've done recently, like with my wife, which is what I'll just be like, hey, this is making me really anxious right now. I got to take 5. And I used to just blow up. I just let it get anxious, and then I'd fucking do something stupid. Speaking of this is a good time to bring in the topic for today.
Just you're gonna be like sponsors.
Blue Chew. No sponsor yet. This is brand new pot.
Hell yeah.
So each episode we pick a topic, we bring in a funny friend. None of us knew anything about it beforehand, or at least not a lot, and we learn about it. And I was like looking for Bronx specific stuff because we always like to have the guests maybe have a little bit of insight on it. And this thing popped up called the Hoe Avenue Peace Meeting. Have you ever heard of it?
I know Hoe Avenue, but I don't think I know about the peace.
I think you might know a little bit more than
you think.
Is it like some old school shit?
Yes.
Is that the joint with
inspired
back hip hop, right?
Well, it led to hip hop.
It was like a gang
peace treaty
type of vibe.
Exactly. It set the
because somebody named Benjie got shot.
Exactly.
And then they was like, nah, man, you always say. I've only seen. I didn't know the name of it though. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it also inspired the movie The Warriors.
Right.
So you really have to go back and do like the whole Bronx, which is what I'm going to kind of try to do a little bit. This isn't a Bronx specific episode, but. Would you say the Bronx is the most neglected borough?
I don't want to say it's so funny. I won't say neglected because I was actually thinking about this earlier. Not that part, but kind of.
What do you mean by neglected?
Just like neglected in multiple ways. First of all, the first way I would say is like, does the city support it? Does the city maintain the parks? Does it like, are the trains up there consistent? Things like that. Just infrastructure stuff that makes it a nice place to live. That's one aspect of neglect. But I also think culturally it's neglected because New Yorkers, you can probably meet, especially like a Lower East Side or a East Village person and be like, how many times have you been to the Bronx? And there'll be people who lived here for 5 years. Maybe the Botanical Gardens.
Legitimately, like I'm a guy I'm coming up on my 5th year. I think I've been there 3-4 times.
Like for shows? I had some shows.
No, not even shows. There's no shows up there.
Yankees, what are you doing?
I dated a girl up there for a second.
Nice.
Okay.
Come on,
the Bronx. That's how you know he was open.
I don't know, a little rainbow of ladies.
I actually dated a girl from the Bronx for a hot second.
Yeah, we went to the Botanical Gardens.
Yeah.
And then other time, just like I've also been there for moving jobs.
This girl, this is such a trip. I went and I did a show in Washington Heights with all these Spanish kids. They had their own podcast, and they did like a live show. I went up there, I did it, and there was a girl.
I think I know. Was it a dude named FaZe?
I think so. I think there's like 3 dudes.
3 dudes.
But they're like young, and they're not comics. They're just like Washington Heights Spanish kids.
I feel like I did that.
But there was a girl there, and she followed me instantly on, and then we went to Red Rooster in Harlem on like the one we talked for a long time, but we went on one date, and she was like 23 and owned her house in the Bronx. I thought that was so insane. She was like 23 years old and had like saved all her money. It was like not the right. She was too young, and just it didn't make sense. And then I met my wife, and I stopped dating anybody. But then this last time I was in London, I walked into St. Pancras Station, that train station, and I went into the Starbucks, and this girl like tapped me on the shoulder, and she was like, "Andy?"
That's crazy.
And it was that girl.
That's crazy.
So random.
Don't think the Bronx don't travel me. You know what I'm saying? You thought you could duck us in London across the pond? She said, ooh. Yo, Andy, that's yo. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But so I think like if you look back on it historically, the Bronx, just like any other borough of the city, it basically was set up as a place for Manhattan kind of service workers, families, everybody. You know, it's a suburb essentially. It's one of the biggest. I think it might be Queens is the biggest and Bronx is the second largest of the boroughs. But if you just want to kind of go through the timeline, it was populated by the Sewanee and Wappinger tribes, pre-European and
Ben had the Wap, you heard? Wappinger, yo, that's where the Wap came from, yo. I'm saying.
And then
that's Cardi's relatives in the Bronx.
Yeah. The first
Wappingers.
The first Spanish immigrants.
The wettest.
The Wappingers.
The wettest natives.
The wettest natives.
Bronx River alumni. You heard? Bronx River alum.
But 1639, Jonas Jonasson opens up a 500-acre farm. He's a Dutch immigrant, and he calls it Emmaus, which I don't know what that means.
What? Say it again.
Emmaus.
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 Okay.
That's what he calls his big-ass farm. There's still nothing. Like, there's New York, New Amsterdam colony, Dutch, and then there's the New Haven colony, which is also Dutch. And it's all pretty much just wild in between these. Yeah. But he opens this big ass farm, and then people start to kind of like populate the Bronx. There's like a few houses. They're like remote still. There's no kind of like, it's still very, very much, nobody's even going up to Westchester at this point.
Sure.
You know, notable Anne Hutchinson moves there in 1642.
Who dat?
Doesn't matter.
Ever heard of the Parkway?
Yeah. She's who the Parkway is named after.
They named a Parkway after a lady?
Yeah. But it's because she got killed with all her family the next year by local natives. 1654.
So she didn't do anything to earn that name?
Just got
on the Parkway. Hutchinson. She lived over there. That's where it's like back in the day. But like now, how they put your mural.
That was the first. That was the first mural.
She was the first. Yeah, the Parkway was the spray painted T-shirts.
Yeah, it was the side of a bodega. Yeah. For that time.
She's the white bike.
She was the first white bike. They was like, yo, we running down the road here. They was like, all right, let's use bikes.
And then 1654, Westchester Village. 1664, Province of New York. All right. 83, Westchester County. 1748, the Van Cortlandt House is built. Do you know the Van Cortlandt House?
I just know the park.
I think that's where it was.
What is it?
He was a pilgrim or whatever, like one of the first Dutch pilgrims.
Okay.
Wealthy, built a big ass mansion.
These was all people that didn't know that it was going to be hip hop coming after them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. These are people that thought they were going to be retaining their puritanical Protestant They did not know Cool Herc was right around the corner. And then 1776 to 1781, Revolutionary War. Fordham University, built 1841.
Crazy.
Do you have some history with Fordham? Did you go up there and shout at shorties?
I used to do community service across the street.
What kind of
Fordham.
community service?
Soup kitchen.
Nice. Just feeding the needy?
Yeah.
I love those
Was
kind
that
of
volunteer or mandated?
Community service.
Okay.
That shit was like a job to me, man. I used to be like, damn, I gotta go over here and take orders from the community.
I hated community service. We did it in high school. And what did I had to deliver newspapers to people in the hospital, at Swedish hospital.
Yeah, where my mom works.
And it was so awful and awkward because you'd go in and people were like, why is there a teenager here?
Yeah.
That I never wanted to feel.
You're talking about the employees.
No, I'm talking about the
patients.
The patients. I have to walk into their rooms and just be like, do you want a newspaper for free?
You're like, get out of here!
Just somebody dying?
Yes, absolutely. Like, and then sometimes, like, if you're lucky, they're asleep or like intubated.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So the best patients were the ones that were like, look like they were dying and had a tube in their mouth and be like, oh, thank God. And I guess
lighten the load a little bit.
Yeah.
1888, Washington Bridge, first bridge between Manhattan and the Bronx is built. 1891, the Botanical Gardens. 1898, it becomes a borough.
1891, wow. Those are old.
Ben had plants. Talking about, son.
1904 is when the subway starts.
Oh.
The IRT line. And at this point, it's mainly Italian and Irish. That's like the whole vibe up there is it's at the top, like 1900s, Italian and Irish immigrants. What's the avenue with all the Irish people?
Woodlawn.
Yeah, Woodlawn is like, it's like.
Oh, no. You said Italian or Irish?
Irish.
Yeah, Woodlawn.
Yeah, so it's like all, like even up until the 80s, it was like.
Even now, it's still mad
Irish bars,
yeah,
and
Woodlawn?
There was the Irish mob operated out of there too.
Woodlawn's it's still mad. It's different people. It's different people living there, cultures, but it's mostly Irish still.
I've heard that there's like a strip of like really great Italian restaurants there.
Yeah, Arthur Ave.
Arthur Ave, yeah.
I know you're gonna get to this, but what's going through my mind is when did black people show up?
Well, that's what. So
always been there. They just didn't write us in the book, so Andy don't really know about that. You feel me? Huh? Black people was the ones who you think was helping Hutchinson.
Yeah, there's
they don't
black
put
families
about her in the book. They don't put them in the book.
But it doesn't really. The major exodus of black communities to the Bronx happens in the 60s.
Oh yeah,
in between that,
from over there.
You talking about the West Indies?
Nah. Well, yeah, that too. But
from where?
The West Indies.
But then there was
huge
a thing. I feel like they was pricing people out back then.
Yeah, Brooklyn, Manhattan.
Yeah,
all those
and
places.
then people were moving to like the Bronx and like other outer boroughs.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff doesn't really matter. Like 1923,
this all matters,
Yankee
man.
Stadium.
This is interesting to me.
The first Knickerbockers was a 1912 baseball team. Just so we know, Jonas Salk, the inventor of the polio vaccine.
Yeah.
Born
BX.
Born in BX
really?
in 1914.
Yeah. Tell him, yo. Tell him, Andy.
Triborough Bridge, 1936.
I thought you was gonna say Tribe Called Quest. I was about to be like, yo, that's crazy. I thought they was Queens.
Aren't they Queens?
Yeah, they're Jamaica.
Is De La Soul also Queens?
De La Soul is, I feel like Long Island.
I feel like the only BX guys I know is KRS.
Nah, this man. What are you talking about?
That's what I mean. I don't know. Keep going.
I'm just saying this.
Give me some more.
Yo, we talking about the invention of hip hop. That's
of course.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. But are there more contemporaries?
Autumn, can you look up
contemporary
rappers from the Bronx?
That's crazy. That's like saying how many comics from Boston.
A lot.
It's like millions of comics from Boston, bro. That's insane, dog.
Ice Spice,
and
Corey
that's
Guns.
just like this is just like a few.
Who the hell's Drag On?
What about Whippy?
You don't know Drag On?
No.
I spit these flames to make your head shake.
Look at Christopher Reed of Kid and Play.
Come on, try to tell you, man. You talking about?
All right, you guys got everybody. Yeah, I mean, obviously
they put Funk Flex in there. He don't even rap.
And it's
just screams.
It's important to mention that we got Ice Spice and Cardi B of recent.
But then also you gotta go see. This is the thing people don't understand. Like the creativity. Like Stan Lee is from the Bronx, bro. Stan Lee.
Yeah.
What is it about the Bronx that's creating this like artistic spirit?
Survival.
Not because if you go back like before like hip hop. I don't know. I think it was an all New York thing, honestly, because it's Brooklyn, Queens. Everybody was doing something.
It's
it was
just
always
a creative
great
city.
people that come. Yeah, it's like I think the thing is too like maybe being on the outer borough, and Manhattan's always been like the hub of like if you make it in Broadway, Times Square, the ballyhoo. So if you could make it over this, I think a lot of people in different boroughs that was like. They trying to make a name for themselves in New York City because it's like everybody's.
Yeah, I think
everybody's
New York,
so like, ew.
Especially like if you are from Brooklyn, Queens, or the Bronx, I think that there's something about making it to the island and making it on the island that is in the, because it's like a city that was created by immigrants that all wanted to get to that. That's the American dream. Mm-hmm. You're on Wall Street, you're on Broadway, you're in Midtown, that type of thing. So I'm sure that has something.
And then also, I think, too, it has to do with, like, where you're at and the people you're around or what's going on. Because you got to think, like, say, Stan Lee, this is probably, like, I don't know, maybe, like, the
probably 30s or 40s.
40s?
Yeah.
So it's like, and then that means he was probably in high school, like, in the 20s or something, or the early 30s type of thing.
He was probably high school in the mid 30s. Yeah.
So it's like, what's the vibe? These is like people. I think the thing is,
the world is at war,
right? But everybody's also trying to be trendy. Not trying to be trendy because there is a war going on. But I think the creative juices, say like Stan Lee, that's like World War. So he's writing about like that in a comic book form.
Yeah. I think there's also something to like New York and LA being cultural hubs. And I think that like you're just so much more tapped into what society is everything's going on in society because you're where all the attention is.
Yeah.
Also, like, you got to think too, like Stan Lee is a Jewish guy. From the Bronx.
Oh yeah, I did not mention there's a large Jewish population.
Oh,
like
still
Jewish people,
not to the same extent.
Not as much as in like Brooklyn or like
But this is what's interesting is that it is a melting pot. It's a beautiful kind of multicultural. I'm sure it's not all nice. I'm sure that it's like all the boroughs. So like if you're a black guy, you're probably not going to want to walk into the Italian or Irish neighborhoods alone. That type of thing that's happening already all around the city.
Nah, not in the Bronx, yo.
They all got along.
Yeah. Oh, I'm talking about now. I thought you meant like back then.
No.
Back then. No. Hell no.
It was not.
People were more like, though, you don't go over there, you don't go over there, you don't go, you know what I mean? People.
And there's still some extent to that, right?
Nah.
But I'm talking about like gangs. Like if you're like part of like one street crew, you're probably not going to go to a certain part of it.
Well, yeah, if you live in that life. But the average Bronx site and like, I'd say Bronx type more than just the average New Yorker because New York is from all over. But like, I feel like the Bronx is like, I ain't going. Where you at? Nah, I ain't going over there.
Yeah.
Like if Shorty told me she lived in a certain part of the Bronx and was like, yo, come over, it's all good. I'd probably go. I'm lying.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be like, damn, Webster and 160th, that's crazy.
You're gonna wear a different pair of shoes.
I'm be like, yo, meet me at the Uniqlo. Meet me at the BBQs in Co-op. I got you. Not going over there.
Come to the Starbucks with the drive-thru.
I grew up like my family used to live all over the Bronx. So it's like I would have to go to my grandmother's crib, which was like a crazy building where it's like, I don't even want to go see my grandmother, yo. Because there's dudes in the lobby wilding.
Yeah. I went to high school with a dude, a Jamaican kid, Jamaican American, but he was from Brooklyn. And he told me that when he was a kid and he lived in the projects over there, you'd get on the elevator and dudes would just get on the elevator with you and they would just bust the lights out. They would just really? Knock the lights out and beat you up and rob you.
That was a game.
That was a game at my high school too. We would go into the bathroom in the gym because there's no windows there. turn off the lights and we'll just start
All
fighting.
kissing.
Everybody
start
those
kissing.
is prison games. Yo, lights out. You know what I'm saying? You're like,
That
what?
shit was so fun.
Corners. I remember there was a game called Corner. Like if there was like 5-6 people in the elevator, corners. So you gotta fight
to get to the corner.
a corner.
Yeah.
It's only 6 people in the elevator. We're fighting in the elevator, and if you're in the middle, you getting it from every corner.
That's so fun.
See, that's something that like
I miss
think
that type of
I
horseplay.
think that a lot of people, like especially white family, I don't know, just white people. I think that the only thing we've been given is that this is like this supreme amount of violence, but in reality, it's like people are having fun still, even in these where there is a high level of crime or drug addiction or poverty. And we're always just told like it's just crime, it's a war zone. You know, like if you weren't from New York now and you watched Fox News, you would think that we're like going out and fighting immigrants every night to get into the Whole Foods.
I do that. I make sure the immigrants aren't in my way.
Yeah. You're like, I've been here for a while.
Yeah. I've been here 4 years.
So anyways, I think this is the big, I watched a documentary called Rebel Kings, and the big kind of thing, the big cultural shift in the Bronx was this guy, Robert Moses, in the late 50s and 60s, had this design for the city. He's basically responsible for every roadway, arch, parkway across the state, you know, the Taconic, the Hutchinson, all of these things. And he decided he wanted to build the Grand or the Cross Bronx Parkway, which it crosses the Bronx. But everywhere there was, he just drew a line where he wanted it, and everywhere there was, it was community.
Yeah.
And so they just literally took out like a block wide chunk across the entire thing, which you couldn't cross for many years because they're just building this thing. So there's just a giant canyon in the middle of your neighborhood. And because of that, businesses close, wealthier families get the hell out of there. It also divides the neighborhood. So above the Cross Bronx Parkway, they can still kind of like maintain because they have this entire swath, but it isolates the South Bronx. And because of that, the South Bronx basically becomes derelict throughout the 60s. People are just like not turning on their tenants' heat. People are not doing garbage pickup. The ambulances won't come there. Cops won't go there.
Hold on real quick. You got to think too, at this time, the 60s, or I'll say like 60s, 70s, 60s, late 60s, 70s, like, bro, New York was crazy.
Yeah.
So you got to imagine, if New York is already crazy, I mean Manhattan, like, you know, it was a crazy time. But like, imagine.
Yeah, this is pre-Ed Koch.
On the level of like.
Ed Koch.
Yeah. But no, as you were saying. Yeah.
No, it's so what happened was it basically became kind of a war zone in the sense that like also there was like a huge thing with landlords setting their own buildings on fire.
Oh, for like insurance?
Yeah, but there was they said that the Bronx was always on fire. Like this basically in the late 60s.
I said, late 60s,
early
70s.
70s.
That was white flight kind of vibe. So it's like and then the city was going bankrupt too. So it's kind of like, yo, there's nobody, people ain't making money.
Yeah.
People are leaving. You know what I mean? Like, and then black people are like, what the fuck? Like, just minorities are like, yo, we can't pay rent. And then the landlords are like, fuck, if we can't make money off the building, we're going to burn them shit down to get the insurance money.
Yeah, and it's basically at this point, it's only black and Puerto Rican. That's the only people living in these parts of the Bronx, like where this is going down. And as a result, and because the whole city is basically derelict, this is like, I mean, the East Village is like the same. Alphabet City's like on fire and like you can't go there.
LES is
like,
crazy.
That old kind of like, I want to call it like a meme where it's like a car pulls up and they ask directions and then they like go to drive away and their tires are already gone. That is like East Village 1970s.
Yeah.
Vibes.
Yeah.
I've heard that was like Alphabet City 1990s.
Maybe.
Even.
I mean, if you watch like, is it Repo Man? What's that? There's like some funny like comedy / New York movie about that era of like grimy New York, which is actually where all the like when the best art came out of New York. You know, that was like Lou Reed and fucking what's her name? Who's the famous CBGB singer?
This is out of my realm.
She wrote the book about, Just Kids.
You're talking about she used to be in a band.
Yeah. Autumn, do you know what I'm talking about?
Damn, what's her name?
Patti Smith. That's what
I
I'm
thought
thinking.
you were talking about someone else because there's another woman that was like super popping.
But it's like
she was in a band.
Basquiat comes out of that era. You know, it's like New York at its grimiest was its most creative.
That's like
probably.
late 70s, early 80s vibes.
Yeah,
late
but
70s.
She's a hottie.
Mid 70s. Because I think even that, like, because I think about, I mean, I was born in the early 80s, but like
this is like totally my vibe, like lesbian looking girl.
Yeah,
that's what I'm mostly attracted to that.
I thought you meant the second top right to the right.
That one?
Nah,
oh, yeah.
Oh shit. But
the one that she looks like Gandalf.
Yeah, respectfully. She looks like she know where to get the best hummus in the city. She like, yo, let's go to best. Go to Olive Tree. Right?
She can tell you to get the best acupuncture.
Let's go get some acupuncture and some tabbouleh after.
Yeah. So when do all these gangs come in?
So that's the late 60s when the Cross Bronx Parkway happens, and then it's like just, you know, basically a war zone. Sure. And so kids just start basically fending for themselves, and it's basically block per block. It's like if you got a group of friends, all of a sudden you're a gang, and they want to be seen. They live in the middle of basically chaos, and they don't want to emulate like mobsters or rich guys. They want to emulate Hell's Angels. So that's where you start to see all of the leather vests, the kind of afro with a bandana, like, and it's literally like block for block. I will this is the only time I'll look at my phone, but let's see if I can find. This is some of the names of the gangs: the Alley Cats, the Bachelors,
Single,
Black Cats Incorporated.
Yeah, we inked up.
Black Ivory, Black Pearls, Black Spades, Blue Imperials,
a lot of black things.
Born to Raise Hell, Brothers and Sisters, Deserters, The Dirty Dozen RT,
only 12 of us,
Dominican Lions, Evil Serpents.
Yes.
All right, Petey, what's your gang?
Flying Dutchman.
Yeah. I don't have a gang.
Flaming Lords.
Yeah,
the Fox Street Association.
That's my gang. The Flaming Lords.
Yeah. What was the last one? The Fox what?
Fox Street Association.
Yeah, we associated. Talking about
Ghetto Brothers Org.
They were a band actually. The Ghetto Brothers.
Yeah, they were that's actually who this.
They're really?
Benjie was in the Ghetto.
They're
Brothers,
the most central kind of story of the Rebel Kings.
Okay,
they killed Benjie.
Yeah.
And
that's like
the leader of the. Oh, he was like the leader /
He was the peacemaker.
Yeah, he was like.
So Benjie's like the "Can you dig it?" guy.
No, that actually is like a fabrication.
Sure, because
but
he's the.
No, that actually comes. That's another guy named Spanish Eddie. That'll come up.
Diplomatic. He was. Yeah, Benjie was like the diplomat. He's gonna go talk to everybody and all that stuff.
There's Ghetto Brothers, Immortals, New York, Javelins, Latin Aces, Latin Kings, Liberated Panthers, Mac 7 Rounds, Majestic Warlocks Tribe, Mongols, Peacemakers First DV.
So how big is this congregation that comes together?
It's like a high school gym.
They filled up a high school gym?
It's a boys and girls club on Hoe Avenue.
Okay.
But I mean, that's like half of them. So there's a lot of gangs.
And that's just like, come on. But like I'm saying, it was all New York. Like it was like.
And also another thing to add is this:
all over the city.
A lot of these guys had just come back from Vietnam, and they're coming out of the peace, like anti-war thing into that didn't work. We're still in this fucked up situation, and they've been to war. Yeah.
So these are guys from all over New York City.
These mostly. I mean,
that's mainly Bronx, but there is gangs all over New York.
Yeah.
Got it.
And they're all similar in the sense that they're like trying to emulate
that
this
list
kind
was
of
Bronx.
And it's territorial. It was all territory. Like it was like, yo, this is our block. We're the flying. I don't know, fucking chopped cheeses.
Yeah, the flying chopped cheeses.
And this is our if you don't
the Frontos,
or like don't fly your flag through this block right here.
The wild Frontos. Was that it's called Fronto?
Wild grabbers.
Yeah.
But that was like I think. Yeah, that was like the beginning. That was what hip hop came out of.
So I'm assuming it's a very violent time.
There's murders constantly, and because cops and ambulances don't come up there, bodies lay in the streets.
But I gotta say, back then, I feel like they were more like gangs. They were like it wasn't like gangs like we know now, like shoot you in the face. It was more like rumbles and people fighting.
Yeah, it was
like,
a little bit more 50s
type of things like that. And
meet us at the lot.
I feel like the gangsters was like the drug dealers or like the Italians and the Irish mob.
That's what it says.
People that actually did the killing. Like back then, motherfuckers was like,
but
yo, meet us at behind the school. It was like
they did get guns though in the mid 70s, and they started killing each other.
Yeah, I'm assuming Benjie. No, he got stabbed or he got shot.
He got stabbed, I think.
Yeah, I'm assuming that this peace treaty has to come together. Because in reaction to violence,
there's just people are killing each other all over this city. And basically, also, they're very organized. There's a president of the gang, a vice president, a warlord, which your warlord was like basically ran the troops, like the street guys.
Wow.
And then even some gangs had what they called the Gestapo. You knew about this?
Yeah,
what's the Gestapo?
They enforce gang law. So if you like fucked another gang member's girlfriend
there was that
or
one
raped
dude,
a girl.
What was it, Savage Nomads? Was like, we got this one in jail right now. Like they had their own jail.
Yeah, he
like,
goes,
I
put him in my cell and I teach him like street law.
Oh, wow.
And so it's funny because
it's like its own society that is being created since there's no municipal interference.
Yeah. And it's like, they're definitely like involved with the Black Panthers. They're doing stuff to like help the community, but also they're warring with each other. Some of the more developed ones are obviously doing more stuff for the community. There's other ones that are just like, they just come to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
And it's also funny because all these dudes are like old guys now in the Rubble Kings. It's like a 2014 documentary. They're like old guys, but they put on their old outfits and they look real.
They don't fit the same.
Yeah, it's real funny. There's this one dude called No from Brooklyn, and he's got like this kind of like Spanish derby hat with like a bandana around it. It's a look, man.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got like cornrows with this little like. I'll have to pull him up.
So when does the treaty happen or the?
So 1971 is when the treaty happens. I think it's 1971. Let me make sure.
And then what?
Yeah. December 8th, 1971. So things had gotten so bad in the late 60s and the early 70s, this is still the early 70s, that basically gangs are like, hey, we got to stop this shit. And the Ghetto Brothers had started a band, and a lot of times the Ghetto Brothers had been a gang, but they would throw like parties where their band would play. They actually even had hits on the radio, the Ghetto Brothers. And
Ghetto Brothers Power.
Do you know it? Is that one of their songs?
That was like the hook. That's like their most popular song.
Did you hear it bouncing around the neighborhood?
To be here today to make you dance the ghetto way. Nah, that was way before I was born, bro.
No, but would people be like old guys playing it on the street?
Nobody was playing that, man. Maybe on they block back then.
There's something in New York, though, of music that like old Spanish dudes will play that is like the really early hip hop. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's like almost techno, almost
house.
Yeah, it's kind of house, but it's like really like house, like hip hop beats, like boom bap, and only old Spanish dudes play it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Reggaeton?
No, it's like
yeah. I mean, I'm in Bushwick. It's just all reggaeton and
it's like the very first hip hop, and it'll only be like a 65-year-old like Puerto Rican dude on his motorcycle will be playing it.
That very first hip hop stuff is like where it's pretty much just like a nursery rhyme to like a drum loop.
Yeah,
so annoying to me.
Well, so anyways, they set up this peace treaty, and it's basically like a truth and reconciliation, and it's all because Benjie gets killed. They're like, that's enough. Like the peacemaker's getting killed.
Oh, okay. So Benjie got killed
while trying to break up a fight. Like these two gangs went to go fight each other, and they got wind of it.
Benjie was a part of Ghetto Brothers. Ghetto Brothers.
Yeah.
He was like their leader.
Okay.
Yeah. And he went down there and he was like, guys, it's not worth it. And somebody just stabbed him.
They were like, get out of here.
Got it. Okay.
And after that, there's another guy named Spanish Eddie that worked in the Youth Association Crisis Group, which was like when shit's going down, these guys are first responders. He actually gets shot in the face, Spanish Eddie, when in Brooklyn at another thing later on. He lives.
Wow. Yeah, he caught the bullet in his teeth.
He
lost
lives?
a few teeth, but you know, this is the price you pay.
Yeah.
You feel me?
What was the Black Kung Fu movie?
The Last Dragon.
The Last Dragon.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Somebody catches this
like,
bullet in his teeth in that.
Said Bruce Leroy, I'm tired of you catching bullets with your teeth. N-word, please.
Yeah.
I love those movies. Anyways, and then this sets up basically immediately as soon as they do this, there's a peace treaty. Everybody gets along. They start having house parties. Gangs start creating b-boy crews.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Cool Herc comes around, 1973. 1974, Africa Bambaataa.
But then hold on, I got a deep cut. So like, there's like Cool Herc gets the credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I be like looking at on YouTube, I go down my old hip hop rabbit holes, and like there's dudes out there from the Bronx that's from Bronxdale houses and like the Soundview area of the Bronx. And they claim that that's where hip hop really started.
And Cool Herc stole their...
Not that he stole it, but I feel like he claimed the fame of it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, imagine if it's just people doing what they do. Like, they're not thinking about like, it wasn't even probably called hip hop back then. It was just like what people did.
It was
like
just a
house party.
Yeah, it was just a party.
Where was Rocksteady Crew from?
The Bronx.
But that came later too. Like all of that came like late. It was in the beginning of hip hop, but like I'm talking about like
Cool Herc didn't even call it hip hop.
Because like the gangs. All right, so hip hop came out of the
73, 74.
Came out of the Black Spades gang.
Yeah.
Hip hop. Then they became like they were the ones because like even in like the docs online and stuff, they'll be like, "Yo, we were like one of the last gangs."
Yeah.
The biggest gangs. They're like, "Yo, we recruited from all over." Because the other thing they be talking about is like, "Yo, we all knew martial arts. We were really good at martial arts. We had a few black belts with us, and it was like we would go from."
There is a guy in the doc named like Karate Juan or something.
Yeah,
you know,
like yo, it's like yo, we would go and conquer different neighborhoods. But anyway, they were the ones that they say like even like b-boying and all that stuff. Like you hear them talk about it like yo, that was a black space. We would go to a party, and that was like how we would dance. So it wasn't even like he said. You know why we called it break dancing? Because we would come in, and your shit would be broken after we finished dancing. Like we would just dance wild.
Yeah.
And like being that they was in the gangs, like, yo, we would wear our boots. Like they were trying to emulate the Hells Angels. So it's like, yo, we would come in. If you didn't like how you acted, you was getting tossed out. But like just that. And they was like, we don't get a lot of the credit because Bronx still was so rough. You couldn't come here.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't come here.
Yeah, yeah.
So Cool Herc was like on the other side of town too, but I think it was more of like he claimed the fame for it.
Because it was like where the cameras could get to first, basically.
Yeah.
Anyways, after this, it really does the city quiets down. There's no more crime. I mean, there's crime, but it's not the same. It's like it's not gang violence. Everybody's getting along. And if they are having a beef, it's usually gonna turn up in like a dance off or like a rap off or something like that. And that's like where like these old school hip hop things are like the Fabulous Four or whatever like that, and they're all dressed super funny.
Yeah,
it's because disco was big. They wanted to stop looking like Rebels and like Hell's Angels, and they wanted to start looking like Fly and things like that.
Yeah,
and they said that really like crime stayed down from the peace treaty until the introduction of crack. And that changed everything. Like, once crack showed up, it was over. And
once people started like.
The CIA really did their homework on that one. They knocked it out of the park and
I don't like these
it.
guys dancing over there.
Yeah, they're having too much fun dancing.
Nah, that's crazy too, because like hip hop in its infancy though, like when you just like it's all expression, bro. And that's like where we go back to like Stan Lee and whoever it was coming out of, at least in the Bronx, because I feel like it was so just fucked up. If New York was fucked up, the Bronx was even more fucked up. So I feel like that creative, like the expression, like those groups and all these people, it's like, oh shit, we have a chance to express ourselves to each other. It wasn't even about like, imagine, there's no phone, there's no internet. So it's like,
the idea of getting to Studio 54 and that is like so,
Or even where it's like, yo, my block versus your block. Like my block has a better sound system than your block. So then now it's just kind of like, yo, we can express ourselves.
You ever see those like Dominican dudes with the speaker things?
No, I don't.
You know what I'm talking about?
What's
in Queens?
Dominican dudes with the speaker things. Go on, yo. You be setting shit up so crazily.
In Queens, there's like these like speaker offs where there'll be like a car and it'll have like literally like the entire back will open up and it'll be like so many speakers. And I can be like in my car on the other side of the freeway and it's too loud in my car.
That happens a lot on Knickerbocker.
Yeah.
And I'm like a whole avenue over, and I can hear him. And then I'll be walking down. There's this one dude who every Halloween, trunk's all speakers, but every Halloween he just opens his trunk, plays music, and the back of his trunk is all like scary masks and shit.
Oh yeah, nice.
That's hip hop.
Yeah.
That's hip hop. Shout out to the Dominicans keeping the culture alive, man.
And then, so that's the story. I mean, was any of that around, like going around in the air when you were like a kid? Were people still talking about those days or anything like that? Like they must have been proud of the birth of hip hop.
Nah, I feel like even that, I feel like there's definitely people that are, and like I am, like now as I gotten older, and I've like, even when I was younger, like there was certain programs that I would be in, and like they might, take you to the Apollo, see something hip hop. But I feel like it's so much a part of the fabric of where you live. Think about when you like, graffiti. It's like the people in New York didn't have to see the book Subway Art to learn about graffiti. All they had to do was just go outside. So it's like, I feel like in the Bronx, a lot of the times people would it's just part of the culture. It's like embedded in you that you don't even know. Like, damn, why do I think like
that's
this?
so?
Why am I like
I mean, as someone who moved here and like I used to breakdance in high school,
Seattle was obsessed with New York, by the way.
Yes.
Seattle was like, we were so obsessed with New York.
And I was so like, I was obsessed with New York. And then when I showed up, I was like, oh, they were just living like this.
Yeah.
It's like that's crazy.
In my mind, it's like you guys were all a movie to me.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny how many like white kids from well-to-do families in Seattle have seen Wild Style.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy. When I moved, I was living in Miami for a little bit, and I had a roommate named Adam, but he was a graffiti artist, and his name was Atomic. And well, not even through him, but like he was like living with him as roommates. It was like, that was the first time I saw like from the Bronx, from New York, like leaving the Bronx in New York and like being around people that weren't from New York, but I could kind of see like, he was more of like probably a historian than I was, as far as like, he just knew like the culture. It was so deep where you could see like it crosses. But that was the cool part to see, where you're like, man, this thing that's from the hood that people in New York don't even really, not saying that we don't, because there are sectors, like I say, that are like true heads, but like to see how far it goes and inspires people, where it's like, wow, that's crazy. Like, you was in Seattle breakdancing.
Yeah.
That came from dudes in the party breaking up furniture with their boots on. Like, that's crazy.
That's the funniest thing is, like, if you think about it, I don't think there's any more pervasive cultural phenomenon than hip hop. And I don't mean to sound like I have the biggest backpack on in the world.
At least not in America.
No, I mean, but you can go to world. You can go to Australia, kids are rapping. You can go to fucking Taiwan, kids are rapping. You can go to India, kids are breakdancing. Yeah. Graffiti is everywhere. I mean, graffiti's kind of ancient.
I feel like hip hop. I don't agree with that last part, but I feel like hip hop. The cool part about it, and the thing that I try to hold on to it, or hold on from it, is the way that it unifies people. Where it's like, you could go to something that has the element of hip hop in it, and everybody's gonna be there. Like, it's not.
What part don't you agree with? The graffiti part?
You said it's dying.
No. I said it's ancient.
Oh yeah.
Like they did graffiti in like the pyramids.
Egyptians, yeah. I thought you were like, it's dying. I'm
no,
it's not. It'll never die. It's in the museum.
Was there a part of you like going to Miami and you seeing like Adam doing graffiti? Was there a part of you that was like, that's my thing?
Nah. Cause it's different. Like when you could, that's hip. The hip hop part is like, it's like something that's, I guess, intangible. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's something that's like, where it's like, nah, this dude is hip hop. Like, this dude lives this shit. Like, this dude, his spirit is like, let me go prove. Like, hip hop, the spirit of hip hop is like, I'm gonna prove to everybody that my idea is something. That what I think is something. And the hip hop of it is like, I gotta do it in a way that the other people that know what's up, they're gonna respect it. But it's also gotta be in a way that it's different so it stands out. Like, that's hip hop. Every part of hip hop, dancing, graffiti, rapping, it's all that element of like, I gotta express myself in a way that's like not corny, in a way that's like different, in a way that's, because think about like, you look at those old fashioned books of like hip hop back in the 80s and the late 70s, or just even in New York in general, hip hop aside, like what hip hop was birthed out of, it's like people that take the things around them and then like, yo, all right, my challenge is going to take this hat with a hole in it and wear it or present it in a way that even though it has a hole in it, someone will be like, nice hat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the spirit of like that hip hop thing.
Yeah. It's like the whole sagging your pants was just from hand me down. So it was poor people getting pants that were too big for them from their older brother or whatever. And then you swag it out.
Right. And then they're like, man, baggy pants are cool, man.
You know what's interesting about this? Because it's something that I've been thinking about in stand-up a lot, which is you're doing your own, you're creating art, expressing yourself to the people that like know this the most, and like, and you're trying to impress like, as a comedian, I'm trying to impress comedians, and I have to keep reminding myself that's what I'm trying to do, because it's not the most marketable thing,
right?
Because
but also there's the element, like I said, there's a spirit of like, yo, you want to impress people, but you want to show yourself that you're not crazy. So you're like, yo, all right. I think that like hip hop for me in comedy, I always like I write things sometimes just random ass shit. And I wrote this thing the other morning because I kept seeing 50th anniversary of hip hop, and then I was like, damn, yo, I know more people in hip hop that inspire me at comedy than comedians that inspire me in comedy, and even just hip hop as a whole. It's like, when I'm trying to carve my niche in, say, comedy, where it's like approaching it is like, I don't know anybody that does it. I don't know anybody. Like, I'm going to the downtown, like Manhattan, because I'm like, yo, that's like everybody's there. So people don't really make it out my hood like that in comedy. So I'm like, I'm going to go to where people make it at and where people are at. So that was like downtown in the clubs or whatever.
Where was your first comedy?
Well, I used to intern at Greenwich Village Comedy Club.
But you hadn't done stand-up. Like, obviously, you're a class clown. Obviously, you're cut up. But what's the first time that you pick up a microphone and?
Well, that was in Miami. Because I did comedy in Miami for like 3 or 4 months, and then I came back to New York to visit my mom, but also to like see what the comedy is like. Because they like, yo, this is the Mecca. So I'm like, I'm from the Mecca. I gotta go home. I gotta see what it's about. And then it was so much of it that I was like, nah, I'm moving back. I gotta be here, yo. But then it's like I said, I'm in the city now, downtown at Greenwich Village, interning, and then I'm like seeing all of these different people from Switzerland, from Australia, from Germany, from Africa, from all over the world, bro. And I'm coming from the Bronx. So I haven't been that many places. So
none of them were from Asia, by the way.
No,
Asian people, but even that,
we're not in the audience.
But not just the crowd. But then on the other side is like the coworkers, the comedians, where it's like, yo, none, like almost like 8 out of 10 times where I go somewhere when I started doing comedy, nobody's like me. Nobody, as far as like where I'm from, nobody's like, it's like one of those things. So like, I'm telling myself like, damn, how the fuck do I break through?
I think you might be one of the. You're very unique in comedy in which you are not calculated. Like, you can go up there and you can just talk.
But
like,
I'm mad calculated.
I'm not saying you're not like a writer and shit like that.
No.
But you like, if there was any comic I was going to bet on to entertain a group of people without any kind of preparation, it would be you.
I also think this is just we're kissing your ass for a little bit. There's no one that I believe can be like, there's no one that can copy Petey.
Yeah.
Like, you're so unique.
There's probably dudes that you know that are not comics that you think are funny, like you.
Absolutely.
But like somebody doing comedy, no, I don't know.
But hold on, this is real quick because I was taking forever where I was going. But yo, the hip hop part was the part that helped me, where I'm like, damn, how do I break through, or like these people? Because at first it's like I'm talking how I'm talking, and people are like, I don't really understand it, or he's talking too fast, or I don't get what's going on. So it would like make me insecure. And then one day I'm like, I mean, I take a lot of shit in, like positive stuff, but then I was like, yo, hip hop, I'm like, that, like, yo, dude, that's who you, like, that's where you from, that's who you are, that's what it is. So it's like I stopped thinking about the person from Germany, like, how do I talk to someone from Germany? And then I'm like, yo, hip hop is like bro, there's people that don't know the rugged slums of Shaolin in Wisconsin, but they love that shit. So once I tapped into that, I was like, yo, I'm going to just be like, say what's in my heart, say how I feel, say whatever it is. And that's the spirit of hip hop. And I'm like, yo, and then, I mean, there's life shit too, like, you know, just learning how to be a decent fucking human.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I treat people how I want to be treated? But like, other than that, it's like, yo, the hip hop, the entertainment part.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, I'm dead broke, bro. I can't leave it up to like, I think he was kind of funny. It's got to be I need people to be like, if they like, yo, I don't know what he said, but I'm feeling the vibe for real.
Yeah.
Like, I'm feeling the vibe. That's hip hop. Like, yo, you might hear a song where you don't even know
what the words
are, and then you're just like, but that shit go crazy.
Yeah. Punjabi MC. Yeah. We were listening to it the other day.
Or even like reggaeton, a lot of different music where it's like, the bass line is either hip hop or like reggae or something where you're like, I don't know what these people is saying, but this shit go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, when you were coming up, like growing up in the Bronx, was there a consciousness that this is a dangerous place to be?
Absolutely.
You know it. You're aware
your
of it.
Mother, yo, if my mom be like, yo, watch your back.
Yeah.
What the fuck about? Well, it's not regular kids where you like, yo, put your wallet in your front pocket when you, because people be pickpocketing and all that.
I mean, my
shit.
parents were
like,
that way, but I also didn't. There weren't any like kids around me, so I was like, oh, you're just inciting fear.
Yeah.
They're like, don't take no candy from no van.
Yeah.
Like, all right, mom.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you guys are exposed. New York.
Because even that, like, I remember as a kid, we had a family friend, and like he got killed, and that was like the first time as a young kid. I was probably like maybe like 8, 9. Like, wow, somebody just got shot and died. Like, that's crazy. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Was it when you were growing up? Because you were born in 1980.
82.
82. I'm 82 as well.
Oh yeah. 40 club.
I'm 41 in like 1 month. Yeah.
It was 40 while it lasted.
Was it like the trains, when you're growing up, the trains are covered in graffiti, or were you after that?
Nah, I was a little kid. Yeah, that was crazy.
That's wild.
But growing up,
and the
like
Joker
when the trains started to go red, when they started painting the trains red, that's when it stopped more. But it was still wild. Like, yo,
the trains were red.
Yeah, before they was silver, they was red.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
They was white, then they was red, then they turned to silver.
Did they paint them red to stop graffiti?
I
feel like white
know,
is too like enticing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I just know that came next. But I was gonna say, like, yo, New York was like, it was crazy. Like, as I was growing up, it was crazy, bro. Like, it was crazy. Like, at least my neighborhood and like around my community, where it was like, it was crazy. But then also it's like, yo, we live here, so it didn't feel.
That's kind of what
crazy.
I was meant to ask, was like, because I feel like, you know, like I grew up in a very well-to-do neighborhood in Seattle, and then I got into a magnet school, but the magnet school was in the hood in Seattle, and I remember having nightmares for weeks because all I had seen in the media was like Boys in the Hood and all these menace to society, and I thought like that's what I'm gonna go into, and it wasn't like that at all. It was totally normal neighborhood, but I think if I was from there, I would know it's a normal neighborhood and that shit happens down the street, but it doesn't happen here. But I wonder, you know, like, because when we think of the Bronx, I think still to this day, you still think of it as a dangerous place to go. But if you're from the Bronx, you're like, no. Like, I don't think Adrian Iapolucci is like afraid to go to the Bronx.
I don't know. I feel more comfortable now that I'm as I'm an adult and I've gotten older and things have progressed than I did back in the day in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Do you think that's in you, or is that the Bronx?
It's all
that's
New
changed.
York. Like, New York is still crazy. You're gonna see some crazy stuff.
Oh yeah,
but it's not as crazy as it used to be. Like,
have you gotten to that point in your life where you see kids and you like tell them to like get their act together?
Absolutely not.
Kids are the scariest people.
Nah, they not. There was some kids in front of me earlier, and they was talking about, yo, my Triller is crazy. Like, cause they're like, yo, we gonna make a song after this, but you know, I'll be freestyling first, and then I get my rhythm, and then, you know, I'll put the song together. But my Trillers be crazy, and that just made me laugh, bro. Like, man, that's pretty dope.
That's fun. Anything you want to plug? Anything else we want to cover?
What's
going on? You got another show.
I got the one-man show coming up June 23rd. I don't know when this app is coming out.
I think it'll be out by then.
Union Hall, June 23rd, 10 p.m. It's your boy, Before Comedy, After Crime. You know what I'm saying? It's based on my life, you know, and we working it out. It's you know, this is like my 5th, 6th time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got the first Wednesday at Orleans Grocery, Better Days Comedy.
Petey's all over. Petey's great. Petey is always in the city and on the road, and opening for my wife sometimes too.
Yeah, hell yeah. Rosie B.
One of the few people I trust with the
Rosebud.
baby.
Rosebud. I feel like only white women really be taking me on the road like that. Like Rosebud, Alana Glazer, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are the only two I said. Like, those mad white people, like Whitney Cummings, you know. But nah, yeah.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Duff.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwen Stefani.
Taylor Swift.
Uh-huh.
Petey's actually opening the rest of the Eras tour, so
yeah, he's also opening for the Women's World Cup.
Yeah,
you know. Shout out to Ham. What's her name? Mia Hamm.
Yeah,
shout out to Mia Hamm. Yo, she always go Ham.
You said something so funny. We were doing Sam J's therapy show, and you said something like,
what was that?
You said I'm drinking alkaline water. You know, I'm a battery.
Oh, yeah. Come on, yo.
That's the type of shit. Like, I'm never funny like that. You are so easily silly but sincere. It's fucking.
It's a great life we live. You know.
Yeah.
It's a dumb life. Super dumb. Like,
yeah.
Will you ever just real quick before we get out of here? You like, because I think about this a lot sometimes. I'll be like, man. Like, I want to be like, damn, I'm fucking broke, or like, damn, shit ain't working, or damn, whatever's going on. Then I'm like, you chose to fucking tell jokes.
Yeah.
Like, you thought your sense of humor would get you, like,
get your money,
get you somewhere. Where it's like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, the average. Why do you think when you tell somebody you're a comedian, they're like, oh, it's kind of like cool to them?
Yeah.
But they're like, you fucking, what is that? Are
you know what?
Crazy? There's no. That's crazy. Like, it's such a long shot, dog. Like, it's crazy.
There's one time I went up to Hartford, Connecticut, and I went through the Mark Twain house and took the tour and everything. And there was this moment where the tour guide, she's a huge Mark Twain nerd, she goes, talks about when Mark Twain went to Ireland and had lunch with James Joyce. And she was like, what I would do to like, get to hear that conversation and like how funny that must have been and everything. And I was like, it made me like take a step back and be like, you know what? It's okay that I'm broke. Cause I get the opportunity to whoever today's Mark Twains are, I'm around them. I know that.
Me and Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're the Twain,
Mark Twain, James Joyce.
Yeah.
We're the Twain bros.
Well, no, it's funny because like, I get this thing a lot where like I've been doing comedy for 20 years,
Sheesh.
Like 19 in December, and
you don't count the COVID years. So like
well, yeah, a little less, and also I got sober halfway through, so I kind of had to start
like
over.
10 years you've been doing it.
Yeah, let's say 10. let's say I've been doing comedy 7 years. But you know, I see people who have done it way less, and especially now, you know, we got so many friends who go out and they make $100,000 a weekend doing theaters. And people who have podcasts where they just sit around and say that's gay, and they make $300,000 a month.
It's gonna be us one day.
And I get really tight about it because I take it personally. I go, what am I doing wrong and stuff like that. Or like also like I'm a loser. You know, like I didn't come here to just be there. You know, like it'll just get me all fucking spinned out. But then I'll have those moments like that where it's like last night I went to this party. I wasn't invited. I was a +1, but there was like 5 Oscar winners. Or like Oscar nominees at this party. And I'm not talking to them, but it was like, even like, if you make it to the 3rd percentile of this career, like, it's a great life. You may not get that 1% money, but like, it's just the quality of life is so cool.
Yeah.
And you have to take in the fact, like, I don't make a ton of money. I don't make like, you know, crazy 6-figure amounts. But at the same time, like, my life is pretty... It's like
pretty fucking cool,
pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like, and I really get to call the shots. I don't get to stay at the Four Seasons every weekend, but I get to do whatever the fuck I want. And usually it's around really funny, interesting, creative people. And I have to remember to stay in that lane because if I start looking at Stav and Shane and Schultz and whatever, even my wife, and I go, fuck, man, I'm such a fucking loser. And then it's like,
it's so funny because the hip hop in me, I'll be like, yo, even on the way here, I'm like, how do I fuck everyone's head up? Like, that's when I know I'm in a healthy space. Like, when I'm in a healthy space, I'll get angry and I feel like that type of vibe, but then I'm like, nah, I gotta do something. And it's usually like something. It's like that's the thing of like, yo, people be like, yo, how'd you do da? It's like, that's how I know I'm healthy. When I started going to therapy was when I was like, I didn't have that part.
mm-hmm.
Like it was all like imploding, and it wasn't. That's what the comedy is for me, where it's like, if I can't think of something silly, or if I can't see something and then it go through the funny filter, then it's like I need help.
Yeah.
Because that's like the fight back. Like, I don't give a fuck what no one's doing. I'm like, I'm going to have bucket drummers on my show.
Yeah.
Like,
that's dope.
Stupid shit.
I love bucket drummers.
But that's like the hip hop element where it's like, because that's what it was. Like, imagine, yo, everybody's fucking just like, the world is doing better than us.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's not about rapping or throwing a party to get money. It's like, nah, if I could express myself today and anybody wants to listen, I made it, dog. That's the shit. Like, that's the best shit. Like, yo, dude, I be thinking about that shit too. Like, I'm a success.
Yeah.
Like, if I died today, it would be better than if I died 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? 15, 20 years ago. Because it's like, at least I get to like work on the shit, even in my own crazy way.
Yeah.
They'll say that's the way he was he was going that way, a certain way. Like,
the funny thing that I do a lot with that little anger button thing is I go, I'll show them, you know, like I'll show these people that didn't give me.
That's hip hop.
But it's funny because
he's a hip hop head.
I really am. I really was like the white kid that was like, I remember like in freshman year, I had like the black and white camo outfit because I'd seen like Capadonna wear it. And everybody was like, who are you, dude? Yeah. And I was like,
you have a single mother.
He was like,
I can pull out some pictures.
It's your boy.
Yeah.
Petey Deabreau.
Yo, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Where do people find you on the socials?
Just Google me, man. Petey Deabreau. You know what I'm saying? Or I just started
PD's
a link
jokes?
tree. Yeah, PD's jokes. I got a link tree. Hit the link tree.
Ooh.
Feel me?
Hit his OnlyFans.
Hit the onlys.
Let's sell out the Union Hall Day the 23rd.
Yeah, come on, sell that out. Sell everything I do out. This is all I got.
After crime, before
comedy, after crime. Really, and like the same thing, pretty much.
If you want to hear another episode with Petey, you can go through the archives. If you search his name on iTunes, I did interview Petey about his past life.
Classic, yo. I still meet people like, yo, I met you. I'm like, nah. They're like, Andy Haynes podcast.
Yeah,
like,
I think I listened to that one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Riveting.
Yeah.
We both got deep. I think we might have cried on that one.
You smoked a J like right before you walked in, and so you were like in a special zone. It was great. Go back and listen to it. Thank you, everybody, and remember to leave reviews, likes, all that stuff. Check me out if you are in the European continent. I will be at Angel Comedy in London on June 19th. Clink Comedy in Amsterdam the 21st through the 23rd, and at Die Kohlenquelle in Berlin on June 24th. Holler.
Also, we're going to be in Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria Hecklers,
Vancouver.
July 8th, MOTN, I don't know how you pronounce it, July 9th, and
Seattle, some other
the hereafter, July 16th.
Yeah.
Holler at your boy.
And then send us an email at, what's it, Autumn?
The Known Zone Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, if you want to hear us talk about a certain topic.
Yeah.
Or if you want a guest.
Yeah.
We can probably get to them.
Damn, you guys are like the most nicest DJs that take requests.
Yeah, we'll do it.
That's crazy. Shout out to y'all.
It's a learning show.
All right, thanks, everyone.
All right, bye.